Hello and welcome to the collapse experiment. It's supposed to be in the 50s today, which means all this white stuff is probably going away. Perhaps not back here. Well, there's still a ton of shade, but it's going to be warming up, and then it'll drop again, and then it'll warm up, and then it'll drop again. Bryan Johnson. This is a guy who has a documentary about him on Netflix. I became curious because I had also watched the Blue Zones documentary regarding people who live to be over 100 and how they do it, specifically in certain areas, and why that is, and why is it more prevalent in these places than first world countries. What is it that makes them special? Well, this guy, he takes that information and more, and he builds his daily routine around optimizing what is best for his physical health. I've seen pictures of the dude before, and you can obviously see what he looks like now. And I would say, yeah, he pretty much stopped the aging process, because he does not look his age. And even when you see pictures of him from a younger age, he looked older than he was supposed to be. Now, why do people say that he is crazy? What makes Bryan Johnson crazy? The simplest explanation that I can find has absolutely nothing to do with his daily protocol or him giving out the information as to what he is discovering. And yes, he's got like this supplement thing that you can sign up for and buy his products, but then he also gives you the information so that you can go out and buy it on your own if you don't want to get it through him. Not exactly the best monetary policy when running a business. But the guy also acknowledges that a lot of people are just lazy. Well, I can just get it from him instead of doing your own work. And the thing is, he also says that, these are his biomarkers. A lot of it's based on his genetics, his lifestyle, things from his past. So not everything is going to work for everyone. That's another thing to keep in mind. There is no money in being healthy. Not for other people. Why is it that we have more hospitals opening up? Pharmaceutical companies keep making more drugs, and yet gyms, your local gyms, how many gyms have you had in your town or city over the last 5 years? I'm just going to say 5 years. I was going to say 10, but you probably couldn't count them all because they freaking come and go. It's not a profitable business. And primarily, aside from like the high-tech stuff that Bryan Johnson is tinkering with, the majority of what he does is two things: supplements and exercise. Diet, I'm not going to include diet because he decides to be a vegan, which means that he also limits himself as to what exactly he takes into his body. He doesn't take into account animal proteins, cheese, eggs. So I feel like that's kind of it's something that just shouldn't be included because of that. So, supplements. He says that his supplements per day, I want to say, I think it's like $3 per day in what he takes in supplements. And it's a lot, what he takes. I think it's well over like 100 different pills. But you look at some of the stuff that he's taking, and yeah, it's dirt cheap for the most part. There's going to be other stuff that costs more, but per pill, I mean, the high end per pill would be like 10, 15 cents, you know? And of course, he's probably buying it in bulk to the point where that marks down the price. This was something I learned working in the hospital, was there is no money in being healthy. Not for the other industries. And having said that, I will also point out that pharmaceutical companies, they like the side effects that their drugs have. Could they get rid of the side effects? Probably. Are there supplements that might do a better job if people actually regularly took them as they're supposed to, just like any other medication? Yup. Is this medical or financial advice? No, I'm just stating the obvious. And you can think of it however you want. So, I've been doing something very similar to Bryan Johnson for a while. You know, this year has really been like me kickstarting that again, because over the years, things happen. You have kids, your life changes. When I was single in my 30s, that was when I started tinkering around with fitness, supplements, whole foods. At the time, and because I was living in the city, Whole Foods, expensive. Super expensive. Why? Don't know. We had something called the Kalamazoo Farmers Market. For a while, it was pretty well known, right? To the point where, like, places outside of Kalamazoo were like, wow, look at this market, all the produce, blah, blah, blah. And just like everything else that becomes well known to the point where people seek it out and the customer base increases, but there's a shortage of what everybody wants, the prices go up. And with the prices going up, it meant that people like me, who liked the fact that they could find affordable produce, eggs that were cheaper, and the eggs always sold out. There was one booth in particular, I think the guy had like a claw for a hand. No joke. It's like probably, who knows how he lost it. Could have been a farming accident. I don't know. But if you weren't there by like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning when he first set up his booth, you were not getting eggs. Which was fine, because I could go to Meijer and for under $1 get a dozen eggs. Good luck with that now. Thanks, Whitmer. You dumbass. So now I tinkered around with it, and I was taking like ginkgo biloba, gotu kola, ginseng, which it's amazing. There's different types of ginseng. There's North American ginseng, primarily grown in Wisconsin, and then there's Panax ginseng, which is Chinese, and then there's Korean ginseng, which, depending on where the line is, probably not North Korean, because we all know that they're not allowed to export anything to anyone at any time. So I had been taking this stuff for a while, and I remember in my 30s, people thought I was in my 20s. these days with the beard, I think my main goal with the beard is to see if the white stops or if it starts going away. That would be the tall tale sign, right? Like, how did you get your beard darker? Don't know, man. Just take care of myself. So, Bryan Johnson, he's not crazy. You know, it's very simple as to what he's doing. That's why a lot of his videos just reiterate stuff that he's already talked about. We look at the data. We see what's working and what doesn't work. We take stuff out and we put more stuff in. It's not hard. And why the medical community has not been doing this? Well, if people are healthy, they don't make money. The cure for cancer, they will never have a cure for cancer. A cure for cancer would be like those guys back in the 70s that figured out how to maximize gas mileage in their cars, and all of a sudden they're found dead, usually in their car. The garage that the car is parked in was set on fire due to arson. The car itself disappears, or it gets sold to GM or somebody else, where it's just thrown in a warehouse or crushed because, heaven forbid, the information get out. We'll be out of a job. We can't have cars that are getting over 100 miles per gallon. Same thing. If somebody found a cure for cancer, 100% guarantee you their ass would be found dead. There is no money in healthy people. Just like there's no money in solving homelessness. We're gonna put ourselves out of a job? Isn't that your goal? All these NGOs, these nonprofits, these organizations are like, we're helping the homeless. It's the unhoused, you bigot. They're not helping. They're not. They create more homeless people. They don't get them out of their situations. If they got more homeless people out of the situations that they're in, like in a job, in a house, in an apartment, hell, just off the streets, they would become unemployed. They would not know what to do with themselves. They wouldn't give themselves a pat on the back because there's no more paycheck. People like Bryan Johnson, with what he's doing, he's a threat. He is a threat to the medical community, the pharmaceutical community, because he is finding the most cost-effective way to save on medical bills, which was, don't get sick. Slow your aging. And they like to focus on some of the stuff that's more high tech, right? Like the red light therapy. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I'm not going to try it. Don't care. And yes, he grew some hair back. Don't care, dude. I embrace my baldness. It's fine. My mom's dad was bald, which genetically speaking means I was going to be bald. It's fine. I have 2 daughters. Guess what? They're boys. Got it from me, bros. When they actually have kids. Embrace your baldness. If you don't believe it's badass, just watch some Jason Statham movies. I don't include Vin Diesel because I don't think Vin Diesel actually is bald. I think he just shaves his head because he thinks it's badass. Makes me look tough, yeah. I'm about family. So some of the things that I added not because of Bryan Johnson, but from the stuff that I've been researching and the type of things that I'm looking for in my own health and life. So, along with the ginkgo and the gotu kola, there's alpha GPC, which is the main ingredient in alpha brain. You can find alternatives because alpha brain is expensive. And I've only tried it once, but good God, does that stuff work. And I've been having some positive effects from the alternative that I found on Amazon. So it's definitely something I'm going to stick with. Coca powder, cocoa, depending on how you want to pronounce it. It's in the baking aisle. If you're a local supermarket, it comes in a little can. Raw cocoa, what they make chocolate out of. Chocolate is good for you, not when it's processed. No, that powder all by itself, holy crap. The amount of health benefits in that little thing. So I add that to my protein shakes. Avocado. Avocado's got a ton of health benefits. And thankfully, they're still 89 cents a piece at the local Aldi. So whatever tariffs are taking place against Mexico, although I believe some avocados are grown in Florida, whatever's going on with that doesn't seem to be affecting it all that much. I've been trying to eat more fish, the omega-3 fatty acids. There's really no point in buying omega-3s in the little capsules. You want it fresh, you want it from the fish, because when it sits on the shelf, even though it's processed and it's put into those little capsules, it's usually aged, spoiled, not really doing much for you. Just eat some fish. I don't like fish. Well, that's your problem. So, nitrous oxide. I remember this was a big deal in the late 90s. They were making all kinds of ads for nitrous oxide. Nitrous oxide booster. It's supposed to be like a pre-workout that you take. It's going to maximize your gains. Well, it's also good for healthy brain function. Yeah, muscle recovery. It does help with that from what I've been reading. There's all kinds of good things with nitrous oxide. So that is something I haven't started taking yet, but I'm going to. And in reality, the stuff that I take is cheaper than what Bryan Johnson takes. And he's all over the place. You look at his list of stuff, yeah, he's taking cocoa powder and he's taking a bunch of other things. But I guess it's really like what your goals are. Do you have liver issues? Do you have kidney problems? Like, what are your health issues? You have an entire internet world of knowledge at your fingertips. And yet people will go to their doctors and get put on some type of medication where they're like, you need to take this. And then 2 weeks later, they're back in going, I've got this other issue. Oh, that's a side effect of this one, but we can cure that with this pill. And within a year or two, you're taking like 12 different things that all stem from that one piece of shit that they gave you that first time. I don't like going to doctors. I don't like going to dentists. There's certain professions where it's just like you walk in and it's like you just hear that cha-ching because they're looking at you like, ooh, you have a crooked tooth, You've got this. I'm seeing all kinds of, hey, do you want us to take that silver out? It's giving you mercury poisoning. Really, the silver fillings that I've had since childhood have been poisoning me this whole time because there's just an endless supply of mercury in my mouth. It's a mercury factory. It's just constantly invading my system and poisoning me. How am I not already dead? So I would recommend two things. For anybody who's interested in this topic, I would recommend watching the Blue Zone documentary, which is really eye-opening and fascinating. I watched this guy, I think he was down in Costa Rica. He's like 109, and he is still rounding up cattle on horseback, driving them to wherever they need to feed or water or whatever. And at night, he's going down to the local saloon or bar or whatever they call it down there and dancing with all these like 20-somethings. And, you know, they're asking him, like, do you think he's hot? Like, why are you dancing? And the girls are just like, he's the best dancer in the place. I'm like, this dude is going to have, this guy, he probably has like great grandchildren out there, and he's probably still making more children. So it's fascinating. Like, what is it that these people are doing that they're over 100 and they're still doing shit that they would be doing every day in their 30s, right? What is so different? And why is nobody else looking into this? There's no money in it. You know, I get it. I understand it. But the comments that I have in some of these videos where it's like, it's about capitalism. We gotta destroy capitalism. We need to change the focus of our society. What is good for us? That's one of the upsides about having a very narcissistic society of people who only care about their own benefit at all times. The downside is it's usually whatever stimulates their brain as to this is pleasurable, right? Oh, I wish I could just bang that chick. Not for her benefit, but because your PP would like it. Now, if we actually had intelligent people who are looking at their own best interest and saying, how can I live a longer, more fulfilling life, be healthier, get sick less, reduce my chance of getting things like cancer. But no, we don't. Because it's all about the clubs, it's all about getting laid, it's all about getting that car for a status symbol, that house in that neighborhood so you fit in with the group of people that you'll never talk to because nobody talks to their neighbors anymore, but you're in the in crowd because of your address. And yet, gyms close, hospitals grow, more drugs are created, and the cycle goes on because, heaven forbid, anybody actually do the important thing, which is learn to take care of yourself and do things that benefit you in the long run. I'm in my 20s. I don't give a shit. I always hear about, we gotta have health insurance. I don't understand why you think health insurance is a scam. As long as you take care of yourself, you're just flushing money down the toilet. Well, what if there's an accident? What if there is an accident? And half the time when you are in an accident, guess what? You're in a position where you're in a hospital bed. Other people are making choices for you. You're getting put on medications that you'll never be able to go off of. You're not getting the physical therapy you need because insurance doesn't cover that. You're not getting the the equipment you need to get yourself back on your feet, because insurance doesn't cover that. But they will give you drugs. They love to give you drugs. Last story for this video. I was taking judo in my late 20s, going to this judo club. It was a big class too. There was probably like anywhere between like 30 to 50 people per class. It was quite the school. And in one class, I was doing randori, aka sparring, for those of you who don't know. And this black belt throws me. And I mean, it was like a split second. I don't even know what exactly happened. All I know is I was on the floor and I felt/heard a pop through my body and instantly knew that my knee was in a position it's not naturally supposed to be in. Now, a lot of people would have gone to the hospital. They would have gotten x-rays, which nothing was broken, right? I know nothing was broken, and tendons and ligaments do not show up in x-rays. So that's just a huge fucking waste of money, and they're dosing you with radiation. But they're gonna do it because they have to get paid. So I didn't go to the hospital. I went home, and I got some wraps out, wrapped up my knee, helped keep it stable. Took some ibuprofen, which also is not good for you. It's really bad for your kidneys, FYI. Sometimes it's just better to learn to live with the pain. Nobody understands the usefulness of pain anymore. It's telling you something. It's there for a reason. It's uncomfortable. It hurts for a reason. The main message is, don't do that. This is not good for you. It is not helping. And a day after that happened, I was in the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee, and I was hiking trails 5 to 10 miles per day on a knee that was completely, like, I had no business, medically speaking, being on trails with a knee that was just as messed up as it was. And about 2 weeks later, I was still having some issues here and there. Like, my knee would hyperextend sometimes for like no reason. I could be walking and all of a sudden it just kind of folds in, and I'm like, oh shit, that's not good. But I also had a gym in my basement, and I was doing a lot of weighted barbell squats just in particular, anything to strengthen up the muscles around that joint. And this is all without going to a doctor. Didn't go to the ER. Didn't have any of that bullshit. Nobody was prescribing me painkillers. This is what we need more of in our life, in my opinion. This is not medical or financial advice. But I think us learning how to take care of ourselves is what we need more of. I had somebody else comment the other day, because I own a 2006 Toyota Corolla. Been paid off for years. No car payment. All I pay is insurance because it's mandated by the state. Fuck you, Michigan. And they were like, you'd save money on all the maintenance and repairs if you were to just get a new car and have a monthly payment. This is definitely the comment from someone who does not know how to do anything on their vehicle. They probably pay money to have their tire pressure checked. It cost me somewhere between, depending on whether the filter is on sale or not, $15 to $20 to change the oil in my car. Well, what do you do with the old oil? You take it down to AutoZone or any other place where they're mandated by law to recycle oil. You go in, you hand it to them at the counter, they take it in the back, it goes bye-bye. Well, why do I gotta take time out of my... Because they're gonna charge you $100 to $120 for a simple oil change at a place where you could do it for yourself for $15 to $20. This is what we're losing. Nobody knows how to work on their cars anymore. Nobody's willing to learn to do anything. They'd rather just get the card out, swipe it, have money disappear from their account. And again, this is the same thing we're dealing with our health industry. It's somebody else's... My health is somebody else's problem. Just tell me what to do. Oh, you want me to actually physically do stuff? No, give me a pill. So that's it. Bryan Johnson, is he crazy? No. Nope. Look at the basic things that he's doing. Supplements, diet, exercise. Supplements, diet, exercise. It's all right there. That's all he does, and it's his morning routine. But nobody is going to profit off of that. Even he doesn't even care if he profits from it because he's already a multimillionaire from being in the tech industry. He just wants the information out there. I'm going to close this with one thing. Bryan Johnson did not delete himself. Because eventually, if this guy's message gets too big to the point where people like me are taking their health into their own hands and they don't need the current medical system as it is, and more people start doing that, the moment they start losing money, Bryan Johnson will not live forever. Keep on typing.